Hello and welcome to Sweet Omagh Town Internet Radio, and I'm joined as usual with my co-host Declan Ford. Good evening, Mr. Ford.
Mr. McGurgan, is it yourself?
And you're back with us again.
Oh, indeed. Indeed, with my back to the wall here. Do you know what I was just thinking, just before we go any further? I bought you a book about 3 months ago now. Has anybody read it to you? It's Jerry Anderson's book, Heads. It's a great book. It describes a day in the life of a show band musician from Jerry's memory. And I thought one of the pieces that actually jumped out at me was how you could tell the success of a show band.
Go on, tell me.
Very simply, by the number of chip fans outside the venue. The big show bands had maybe 5 or 6.
Yes.
And then as the popularity waned, and then God help you if you were in a show band and there was only one chip fan. It didn't say a lot about your popularity. Wasn't that a fantastic way to assess the popularity of a show band?
Well, many of our listeners will remember Peter Bennett's chip fan.
Yes.
Peter and his late wife Mary had a chip fan. One of the probably the first chip van ever about here. But those were the days when people travelled to dances, maybe 5 or 6 in a car.
That's right.
And got out, and was part of the evening was you went out and had your chicken supper or fish supper and headed home, or you taxied from Knockdemo to GA or wherever it was, and you travelled around and you toured about and you said, well, there's a big queue at the chip van, so I'll wait a while. And
that's right.
And it's a very social thing, but they were lovely couple because if they knew you and you arrived out and you wanted a fish supper, you could pay for it next week or the week after. Because they always knew who you were, and you could never go back if you didn't pay for it. So what a civil way. You couldn't go to McDonald's and say, I'm hungry, give me a fish supper, I'll pay you next week.
That's right. I don't think that particular trick would work with them.
No, but it certainly worked in Omagh.
Yeah,
and it's a lovely story. It's about chip bands, and they're not as popular as they were because most of these cafes stay open now after dances and various things. But they were part of our life growing up. Was us going to dances. You went out for.
That's right. Chicken and chips.
Yeah.
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Burger and chips. Sausage and chips. You know, I'm salivating at the moment as we speak.
Absolutely, yes. And then you could have got turkey at Christmas, maybe. Turkey burgers and stuff.
I don't think so.
No. Well, you always got a tin of Coke or a bottle of Coke and stuff. And it was sort of lining up to get a fish supper, and it was lovely. It was part of its life. But Peter was very kind to come over here and had a chat with us about it and stuff. And it's lovely, and it's the subject of tonight's programme.
Well, that is lovely because the story is the untold story. And the untold story of just the man in the chip van.
Yes.
And I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting, all right. It's part of history that people will recognise and remember, and hopefully. And for the next hour or so, sit back and let Peter regale with some of his stories about the chip vans.
And the fish suppers.
My grandfather would have driven the horse and cart as regards the bread cart. My father left school at 14 years of age, and he would have driven the horse and cart for a while, and he became a breadman then. And at that time it was Inglis's bakery. My grandmother and granda had a shop up the town, which was Devlin's. No, and Barra. So it was. And he transferred from the horse and cart to the wee electric van. And every night the batteries had to be pumped with acid to keep them for the next day. And I mind one day at school we had I fell and broke my arm or my elbow. So I was going down the town. Eventually Mrs. Conway sent me home. Went down the town, and to be quite honest, I could have walked half faster than the electric van would have went. But we got the length down till Granny's, and Granda, he says, look, come on in here, your mother's going to go mad. So in we went anyway, and there was a chaise lawn there, and they put me in, and we were waiting on Daddy coming home to take me down to the county to get me an x-ray. So he put a blanket over me and all, and I was lying back, and the next thing he come with a nightcup, and he says, take that, that'll help the pain. So I took the swig of it, and what was it? Whiskey. So Daddy come home, and with him coming home then, stepped down to the county, and the county wouldn't take me because I was drunk. We come home, and of course we're all waiting on the barge from Mummy, God rest her anyway, but it ended up that it was grand to get the barge in for making me drunk, because Daddy had to take another day off work or start later or whatever before I would get the x-ray and the thing. You know?
What year did you come to Omagh then? When did you do?
I would have came to Omagh when I was about 50 odd years ago, more, 60, about 61 or 2 years ago would have come to Omagh. And the reason why we left Barra was because they had transferred the depot until Andy Carson's yard beside where the old barracks is, and that's where Daddy had operated to close the depot in Barra. But also mind my grandfather always saying that when it round the shops, and if a shop decided to take Agnes's bread, they got sixpence. That was their contract for taking Agnes's bread. So it was.
One-off payment.
One-off payment of sixpence, but you had to stock their bread. Well, I don't know whether it was other bread or not, I wasn't. But I always mind that being told.
Did the bread come in by the railway?
The bread come in at the railway station under, and it's still there. And I used to look after the man that owned the station. But we started off, it was Paddy Coyle lived beside us, who was in the railway, and Jimmy Scallon, I think it's Jimmy or James Scallon, was down in the station house under, and I used to go to school with a fella called John Scallon, which was his son. But John, anyway, the mother was a great baker and used a lot of Guinness bottles for making bread and stuff like that there. But anyway, John went missing one day, and when he went missing, they searched round about, and everybody was out looking for John. Where was John? Under the sink, sipping at the bottles, and him was full as a shock with a Guinness.
Did they blame your grandfather for that? No,
no, I didn't blame my grandfather for that. John was, I don't know, I think John's about Bangor now at the minute, as far as I know. The last encounter I had him with was down in a hotel down in Derry. What do you call the one there at the very first one that you...
The Everglades?
Aye, on the way in.
Yeah.
And I mind finding out that he was the cook there, you know. So I said to the waiters, go in and tell him, will you, that dinner was rotten. Of course, Doubt John stormed anyway. It was you. So the only thing we got that night was a dessert free. He went in and he brought out a dessert. He says, that'll not go in your bill.
Oh, good.
You know.
Ah, well, it didn't
But them were good old days, you know. I mean, just trying to play golf. The dump used to be down there, and John had got a stick that you're supposed to, when you had the perfect swing, it clicked. And anyway, it ended up that the stick got through in the dump because nobody could get it to click right. You know.
Right. I remember chatting before off camera or off microphone. You were one of the first people in through the doors at St Patrick's High School.
Yes, we were.
1960 was it? 59?
And around that, I think. And around that times, I wouldn't mind. I just know I was there.
Yeah. You're the first time out, the first class.
Oh, we were the first pupils in there. And of course, in there you had the townies and you had the culchies. So you had. And that was always a bit of a battle.
Which side did you go to? Because you lived in Derry Road that time.
Oh no, stuck with the culchies. So I did, you know. And just another interesting story there. My daughter, she's married to a man from Antrim. But I would always say to the youngsters, you're half culchies. I'm no culchie, they would tell me back, you know. Yeah. But no, school was good. Mr. Shannon was the headmaster. And he was very good now. And then you had George McCall, and you had Donald Donnelly, and you had McSorley, and what we called Jumbo Lynch, and Jerry McLaughlin. Jimmy was there, yes. And Jimmy would go down the class there and him clapping his hands, and if you weren't paying attention right, he would hit the hands a slap, and you got a slap along the jaw as well. Yeah. So you did. But didn't do us any harm, as far as we were concerned. Maybe at the time we thought it was very unfair. But
big change from primary school, Peter. The same thing, that number of fellas.
Oh, just when you go back to primary school, there used to be a fella there called Kieran McCann, Pluto. And the only thing I learned in Master Conway's room, which was your exit room out of the school, was the thing that I learned was the time. And it was Pluto that taught me the time. And that's the only thing I went to St. Pat's School with, other than whatever other brains I had in my head. But made it all right, like, I mean, and now St. Pat's was good, like, Okay.
What was your first job leaving school, do you remember?
My first job leaving school was accountancy. Rawlinson, Allen and White at £6 per month, which actually included a 5-week month. You still only got £6. You didn't get £150 a week. It was £6. And there was me and a fella from Bridge and a fella Kelly from Omagh. We were known as office boys, and it was our job till add the books. The Herald office was the biggest thing, and the books might have been 8-10 inches thick.
Where was their office, Peter?
Right across. Rawlinson Allen was actually round where Barney McAleer's shop was in John there. Street, yeah, and John Street and round that area. Right. And the Herald was across, and they had the doing of it. And it was John O'Neill, Tom Conway, and Ivan McBride were the three, and of course Mr. Craig was in charge of the office. Now, the office was very easy to run. Mrs. Bowman, whose husband was a policeman.
Jack Bowman's wife?
Yes. She was the office girl. Lovely lady, and kept you right, But you had to do the totting up, and now, I don't know what they employed in the Herald, but by heavens, you had to go through every bit, because they would make a mistake of maybe tuppence or threepence or something like that, and that meant your whole calculations were out, and you had to go right through the whole lot of them and all that crack.
No calculators in those days, or computers?
No, you computed in your head. And that's basically where, through the bread cart, I would have learned to use my head for counting. And it helped when I went that length, because you were fit ahead fairly quick, like. I would have had an odd way of calculating things, Yeah.
Would you, whatever your father's a child in the bread cart?
Yes. I would have been out...
what part of the world would you have done?
In around Carrickmore, and up around that country. Up in Tarvalee here, we would have done up around Ewan's and up around there. Always mind you would go to Mrs. Ewan's, and she'd always have tea for you. But she always knew that I loved the plain loaf that was cut, or that you had a cut, and she always bought one of them plain loaves and gave me a couple of slices of it. It was only bread and butter and jam, but it was so tasty.
Were there sort of regular houses where you would have got tea in, yes?
Oh, you would have had regular places. But one of the funny things was that during the time my father was out sort of on the cart on his own, but he was going on holiday, so he had this fella from Belfast with him. And there was a man lived outside Barra called O'Connor, Charlie O'Connor, with the goats. And you knew Charlie was in town once a month. And Charlie was in town once a month, and you knew he was in because the low windowsills, the goats would tap the windows, and you knew Charlie was in town for his groceries. And he went to Rogers's and he got his bag of groceries, and then he ended up in the Boyle's pub down the town, had a few drinks and went home. But anyway, this fella from Belfast, who was very what would you call his? No, he wasn't upper class, but he was sort of above the rest of us a bit. But he got very hungry, and he had said to Daddy, you know, I might take a bun. Daddy says, don't worry about it. He says, we'll get tea in the next house, and we'll get some buns. So when they went to Charlie's, now Charlie's slept with the goats. Charlie had a hearth fire, and the floor might have been a foot of goat's dung in it, and in the centre of the floor was a hole, and into that hole, when Charlie wanted to boil his pretties, he put the stones into the fire, and then the stones went into this, and the pretties was put in, and then that was then. So the next thing, when the boy was in there, and Charlie made tea for them. So at that time, you had the hearth fire, but then you had a grating where you swept the what do you call it, down the ashes. So your boy, he was a bit reluctant about taking tea, and Daddy, he turned round and says, don't offend the man, you know, that had been Daddy. He said to him, look, into the ashes with. So Daddy, he kept tipping it into the ashes, you see. But what did the boy do? He threw the whole flipping cup full of tea, and the whole place filled with ashes. And Charlie says, "You know, Stephen says there must be a downdraft tonight, so there must." Aye, but he got his bun when he went out to the cart again, so he did. Some of the things that went on, like, I mean, that was on.
After your stint in the accountancy, where did you go after that at all?
The accountancy, where did I live? I went till, I'm not sure whether I went there first, but I went to Jim Keenan's garage in Barra, and in Jim Keenan's garage I was doing the books and keeping an eye on things because of my accountancy background. But anyway, one day Jim come in looking about the purchase book or whatever it was, wasn't to be found. What do you do? Blah blah and on like that, and ranting and raving. And the next thing over, the wife come with the books. She was checking them. So I says, right, that's me out of there if they don't trust me. And I got £3 a week for doing it. And at dinner time you went up into the cross till I can't mind the name of them now, but they had a cafe in it, and you got your fish and chips up there or whatever. So the next one would have been down making fireplaces in where the Woodlander is now. There was I can't mind his name. He has a big house down there and Campsie there.
Kevin Masterson.
Kevin Masterson.
Was your man McGrath? Was it Paddy McGrath? Did he work there?
No, Paddy. It was Paddy, but was he McGrath?
I'm not sure.
No, it'll probably come to me.
Right.
And then right above that was your man Kelly, who made windows, doors and stuff like that. But anyway, we laid out the fireplaces and all the rest of it and filled them up because Paddy McBride was the man's name. Great worker and very easy to work for. Then we had Kevin Gormley was the other fella on the other side of me, and we would have made what they call the black cement and put in the strengtheners in and all that. But Paddy would have laid the patterns out, and we always amazed at the fact that he got the pattern right by laying it down face down. You know, he must have had a good head on him. So stayed there for a few years. Then I went to Tommy Campbell's, the furniture place.
Castle Street.
In Castle Street, because they needed somebody to give Clark Breen a hand with laying carpets, and I was destined for that. And the one thing about Clark Breen was Clark was very honest in the fact that every house that he done, he was the main carpet fitter, and with being the main carpet fitter, he got 10 shillings, but I got 5. He divided the thing, which I always thought of him, dissing him, you know. Then the fella that I think he had broke a leg or something, a boy Wiley from up the Barra Road there.
Like Derek Wiley.
I think it was, and he was. Yeah. But he come back then, and I left there. What else did I do? I went from there till Thompson House in Lisburn to the Cairn end of it. Went in as a ward orderly. Enjoyed my time in it, and I was making inquiries the other day. It's still there and still going. And that was under the Down County Council. And you got £13 a fortnight pay. And you run a car in it and all. Alright, you got free accommodation in it for to stay in the place when you were working. And it was free to any of the staff. But at 6 o'clock at night, that was when you were finished your feeding. But we had a lady there called Martha Thompson from Barra. And Martha was the cook. And Martha used to take enough for to keep us going during the night for a snack. And spent my time there. Then I got a job. Then in down the Derry Road, McAllister. Was in there as furniture charge hand and that.
That's Sloan's, no?
Yes, Sloan's. And my memory wouldn't be that great, but it'll come to me eventually. But anyway, it ended up that we could not trip out in what you call PX furniture. You had to go and get rid of it because it was taken in part exchange. So made me night one day with Breslin, and Cian Young might have been with me, and a couple more of us anyway, but we're around the houses, but nobody wanted the PX furniture anyway. So we ended up in O'Hagan's pub, and of course Derek, being an Englishman, enjoyed his pint and smoked the pipe like a good one. But Derek, he bored it anyway. But the sandwiches come and all the rest of it. And we ended up selling a van load of PX furniture to a fellow called Marlowe for £30. And you would have been paying that maybe for one piece, but we got rid of the PX. Nobody ever, it was down as £30 for the PX, like, you know.
Found a home, I know. That's all you cared about, Peter, I suppose.
Well, that's all Derek cared about. He wanted an happy van going home. He didn't want anything else.
Yes. And the profit was in the new furniture, obviously.
Aye.
Yeah.
So then the job come up in Lyons Bakery, and I went to Lyons Bakery, and I operated different.
Where were they based?
We were based actually, what do we see now? Round behind what Nelly and Kearns garage would have been. There was a store round there, and you had funny one of the fellas there that I would have worked with, Jim Gallagher. See, he died there the other day and was buried from Carrickmore. Then you had a wee fella, Jackie Hamilton. Well, you could have went in at 6:30 in the morning, load your van, get away out of the road, and there Jackie would have been in playing the bagpipes. He played Weedon Pipe Band. And
That would be welcome that time in the morning or so.
well, there was nobody about, like, sort of thing. They ended up that Jackie would have done a bit of fishing and shooting, but he ended up he was doing the Craggin and Derry, and when there was fishing season he had the rods under the thing, and when there was shooting season he would stop on the road home for a shot, and it was on there. But he never got touched nor nothing else. Nobody ever sit down and tell him or that, and he enjoyed it.
That's right.
You know. But on the road home. But then we had another character called Walker, and this boy Johnny Walker, he was always in a hurry to get to the toilet when he arrived, but he pulled it in this morning, and this time it was your man's tin shade, what do you call him, that used to have it, from Carrickmore, McKeown's, come in, and as he thought he pulled the handbrake on her, and he was in the toilet when the car was going through the tin shade and to McKeown's. He forgot to pull the handbrake on her, or it didn't work or whatever.
Right.
But there was a bit of a handling then to get it all sorted out, you know.
You were very close to the model bakery there as well, weren't you?
We were, aye.
Did you were you competitors or?
No, ours was all cake line. It was all, and that was the one thing that we always said to them. was, look, start and make someone that'll suit the Irish, because over there it was all down till husband, wife and two of a family. That's the basis of their cake and that. But the cake done very well. Like, I mean, and Roy Allen was our supervisor in that stage. I mean, doing a promotion in Walworth and Dungannon. And I think it was 10p was for a Swiss roll. But them times, like, 10p was 10p.
Yes.
So it ended up, Roy and I went up on the Saturday, and there was very little of this moving. Roy says, right, grab a half a dozen of them and follow me. So I took a half a dozen with me, he took a half a dozen, and as he'd be going by and nobody would be looking, they'd drop one into the basket. We cleaned it out in about 20 minutes, half an hour. The whole gross of Swiss rolls was all gone. And of course people went, I didn't put them, must have. I'll take it anyway.
Wow.
You know.
There you are.
And another smart one that Roy had played was, he started off with Tito after he left the army. And he went into Cookstown. And in Cookstown, Golden Wonder. And he went into different shops to try and sell. No, we stick to Golden Wonder. So what did Roy do? I organised friends and about 3 or 4 cars and went to Cookstown the following weekend. And the following weekend, got a bag of Tito cheese and onion. I got a bag and they were lovely. No, don't do Tito. Oh, I'll go and check and see somebody else. And they went around the whole town. Roy went the next Monday for Cookstown and had a van load of cheese and onion crisps, and he come home empty.
Wow.
All down till...
Clever marketing, Peter, was it?
Well, yes.
Don't teach you that now.
No.
Don't teach you that.
But we decided here, me and another fellow, Paddy Gere, God rest him, decided we'd need to make more money. At that time with Lions, as I was on...
What year was that, Peter, roughly?
I'm not sure.
Give me
I
a
tell
rough
you,
guess.
times.
Married at that stage, were you?
Oh, was I? Were married, I. Mary was expecting, was Marty. So Marty was 52. So, 52. I know we done 30 odd years, and I think 52 from now would be 70 something.
70s, yeah.
So we decided that just throwing ideas about to what we'd do and all the rest of it, and we come to the conclusion that the only way to do it was to rob a bank. So none of us had the guts to do that. That was the only way we were going to make money. So we ended up then that we, I used to do a shop over in Seskinore, McAllister's, and we're chatting about it with John. And John had an ice cream van as well as a chip van, which he done to our market every Saturday. So it ended up that McAllister, he says, try the fish and chips. Right, we'll do that. And he says, Vincent Hoey, he has a van sitting there with all the equipment in it that you need for pre-cooking and everything else. Now it was all basic equipment. But he ended up anyway that I went to Vincent. He lived up in Imaroo in Tempo, and went to Vincent, and Vincent says, I have that sold to the boy from Belfast, but he hasn't come back again. He left a deposit on that. And I said to Vincent, I says, look, we have the stuff bought because McAllister told us that you had a van ready for going, and we got the stuff organised so that we could get started. So we done that, and Vincent says, right, I'll give you the van, but be prepared to look out for another one, because at the end of the day, if your man comes back, I'll have to give it to him. So we started off with that, and I mind outside, peeling in and chipping spuds over the grating out there, and then the equipment in the van, it was ordinary basic, just straightforward gas heating sort of thing, and we got started that road, and we started off, and our first venue was the bingo after Pomeroy on a Sunday night, because we wanted to find out how we were going to work and all. So Ida and Paddy and me, we headed off to the what do you call it, off till now the van, if it was the day, it'd be burnt, because you see, the rattles of it was not ordinary, and you would have needed to wear woolly undies on it. There was a big draft through her and all that crack, but she was not taxed and insured, so it wasn't. We didn't know much about that till we seen we get a lot of pound on. So we ended up then at the Killyclare Carnival, and that was our sort of our first big night of it, you know. But it worked out all right. That road, we were fit to get into a system of working of who was doing what and that sort of thing.
Right. Had you any competition around the town at that time? Or
None. None. Would have been one of the first
chip vans. Yeah.
chip vans in round the town. Knocknamo was good class. The Gap would have done Carrickmore on a Sunday night. Would have done the bingo, and would have done dances in Pomeroy as well. All around that time, would have done Dromore. Before Dromore, would have done Finton in the car park. And Finton was the greatest place you ever seen for fish. You fish, everything was a fish, you know. But no, it worked out all right then. There was a fella, Eric Thompson's father was a reserve policeman, and he used to keep the spot for us outside the moor at the thing. And
it was the big ridge, wasn't it?
the big ridge, yes. Charlie McBride,
That's right. He used to run it.
Gregory Campbell, or Gregory McAleer
Right. Yeah.
was the bouncer.
Yeah.
And
That was a Saturday night. I was with you that time. That time we would have worked at the bingo on Thursday nights in Omagh, Friday Pomeroy, Saturday Dromore, Sunday Carrickmore.
yeah, that's
Morning.
right. Yes. Funny, brother of mine was out today, and that's what we were just going through the different ones that had been on the van.
We all served our time.
Yes, you had
Seamus Owens, was it? No, you call him.
no, Seamus never was with us,
Was he
but
not?
no, he lived across the road here because he worked in the mentally in Paddy Early's.
Right.
So he'd have been about because
I thought he worked with you.
no, his mother would have been housekeeper here while we had the cafe.
Right. Okay.
The mother would have done during the day. I would have left her in the morning, and then she would have done here. Seamus is dead now, so he is. But what else was there? And that the cafe end of it then come up, and
Well, that's the one beside the coach inn, Peter.
yeah, we had that in beside the coach in there.
I remember
It was
that.
Joe Cunningham, and Joe was a good tenant or a good landlord. He would have, if he had a problem, he'd give the wee hatcher rap, see you 2 o'clock, and out you come with 2 glasses, a bottle of brandy, sitting the parties down in the party store, and sort our problems out.
Imagine.
And the next crowd that come in, I could done a room with writs of get out. McBride's. They but anyway, didn't do them any good because I eventually left. I got fed up with, and eventually left, and they ended up doing chips in a saucepan and fat. That's how bad they had went down because people knew what they were at, like, you know.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So
And that was it didn't seem like a business, but it was a very successful business. you know.
it was first class. We had, you see, what has happened nowadays, the time Knocknamo was going and that, you had one car and about 6 people in the car, and wherever this fellow went, Mr. Quinn, the crowd followed. But anyway, I mind one night I'm coming till the van, and of course the boys wanted to get out, and he says, "You're just staying where you are if you want to lift home," because he says, so he took the orders and the money was given over, and he was going by the boot, and he opens the boot and he says, "Do you have 2 effers went in and take?" I says, "Gee, mighty God, they'll suffocate. They want to lift home, so they'll have to just lie where they are." And that's the way it went until people started to get their own car. Then between the GAA and Knocknamoe, they toured about, and nobody really done anything successful in it.
Yes.
You know, that's the way I read it.
Were the carnivals your golden times as well, were they?
Oh God, aye. Ascot Carnival. I mind one night after the, what do you call it? It was Philomena Begley, wasn't it? But after being closed up in the van for so long, then I would always carry the gallon of water with me, and I'd douse myself down, you know, taking my coat off me or shirt off me or whatever I had and that, and douse myself down. And the next thing, this voice come out of the darkness. Are you taking any more off of you? Who was it? Only Philomena Begley herself, you know. But them were good times. Them were good times, you know. The Gap was good. Mine one night at the Gap, there was another fella there, and his van, there was a bit of a 6-inch block dropped down into the path, and whatever happened, he tried to start and she jumped forward and jumped down over. So the next thing he decided to throw petrol into the, what do you call it, into the carburetor. And by good luck, we had a blanket and we had the fire extinguisher. And the next thing, the front of the van started going fire. And there I am out dancing and shouting and all the rest of it. And of course, she was locked down on the 6-inch block. So he never put too much petrol in the van, apparently. A gallon he had to put in, that had been done him. But he ended up, anyway, we put the fire out and that, and he had a lever sitting there till the next morning till he got a forklift or some way of pulling her out, you know. So he did.
Who were the big draws band-wise those days? Do you remember, Peter? Would you have known the crowd?
Oh, you would, aye. You had the likes of Dominic Kerwin and
Brian Call, was it?
Aye, Brian Call, Derek Mahaffey, all the sort of local bands round about, like, you know. Bruce Shields, he actually lost his guitar, and the fella that worked in the van at that time, Dennis Craig, he was rummaging in the dump, and he come on this thing, so he ended up, he took it back, and Charlie McBride got it, the thing, and there was, I think, a £400 reward on it. He still has to get that 400. Now there was also mind the time of Knocknamoe closing. They run a couple of raves. There was a busload actually came from Larne. This fellow was doing the bingo run, and these boys wanted the bus, and he got £30 for every one on the bus to Leithen Monoma, and that was it, Leithen Monoma. But I mind, late in the morning anyway, well, Knocknamoe come down and got chips of us for to make different ones, food up there. But this boy, and we had big long mirrors in the van, and this boy come down the yard, this has a supper. Where are you from? Larne. How are you getting home? Gonna thumb it? Then he turns round and he starts to talk to the mirror. He thought he was chatting to somebody else, and then he turned round to me and he said, "Oh boy, I'm not saying nothing to me." He was chatting to himself in the mirror, didn't he? That's how badly they were. But they're charging £1 a pint.
Off their heads for people.
For water.
Yes.
£1 of water. Because they knew the whole thing was going haywire anyway, you know. Sort of that went on then, and sort of the last night of we had me and Paddy Gere, Anita and Mary would have done the van between us different weekends. Then Paddy, he moved on, and then we had with the boy Gabriel Doyle, with the boy Francie McDermott, with another fella who come in and said, "Oh, I do a good job." He got the boot, not been naming him anyway. He just wasn't to the satisfaction. With Don McGorgan, We had Brenton Campbell. No, Brenton.
That's right, yeah. Brenton Campbell after me, yeah.
Brenton also done the cafe. He done the peeling and the chips, and I used to laugh at Brenton. He had the barrel sitting in front of the door, the back door, and you'd hear, "Get out, you friggy." He was taking the eyes out of the spuds, because we used nothing, only pink pretties, and there were eye in them, and that was the only one that we found successful.
You had no peelers or nothing in those days, Peter? Nothing?
I had the peeler, but he done the eye in them.
Right, got you now.
And the next thing you'd hear the spud bouncing in the back door into the barrel. That's the way he was playing basketball. But we had Brendan, with a boy Sean McElroy, who was very good too. Then Marion and another lady then, as the whole thing all drifted down and down, Marion and another lady, who shall be nameless, because they would have done the chip fan there. We ended up at McGinn's anyway in the last time we had the chip van out was on a Good Friday night. We closed her after that, so we did. So
you did Christmas, New Year's and everything?
Oh aye, we done all along, the whole way through, you know. Wherever it was on, we would have been there. You never got Christmas without over.
You only few chip fans I ever knew done credit. People you knew could have got.
Oh yes.
Could have got scuff and then paid you next week for it or whatever.
Yes, that was. I mean, one night too, a fella from way down below Plum Bridge and that, and the boys had left him there, and they had no way of home, and they had no money. So everybody's saying, "Don't be giving him." So we give him the £20 on a feed, and they come back the next week and give me the £20. You know, you trusted them, they trusted you.
That was they got to know you. Yeah.
We also had a few savoury characters at the van, and who shall be nameless. But anyway, they would have run up a bit of a bill and that, and then they would come along and they would say, "Right, I'll see you on Friday night." So I mind the bill this time, they were only out of their accommodation in Belfast, and they come to me, "Can we have a feed to know you money?" But it ended up it was £68 or £86, I can't mind which, that they owed us with the feed on top of it. We'll have that on Friday night. So Friday night come, yes, no bother, the money was there. So when the money was there, that was dead on, bill was. So we discovered a month later that they were back inside because they had robbed someplace. So we must have got the money that they robbed. But they still paid their bill. Oh, it was.
It's called for robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, well, true enough. When we had another case at.
This was during the height of the Troubles as well, wasn't it?
Oh, I know, we never had any bother at all. The one thing that we always done was Mary done the window, and I would have done the cooking, or whoever was on the van done the cooking and that, because she got more respect, not maybe from the boy that was mouthing, but some of the boys in the crowd would have taken them and say, "Come on, out of there and have manners," you know.
But your chip van was also built like a tank as well. You could never cook
Oh, for God's sake, no.
But looking back, Peter, you know, wasn't it a simple way of life really when you think of it? But
Very, very simple. No, and then just, I don't know, maybe within a year or so, different other vans come up and all the rest of it. But we were there first, and the crowd, and even towards the latter end of the years, there was ones coming to McGinn's there, and Daddy told me to come and get whatever one date off you. It had passed down through the families. You know, you treated them right and they treated you right. Simple as that.
After all that, then you went back to the nursing career, did you?
Aye, well, in between times then, what did I do? I started with Sparing Care, went back into it, and then on nights I wouldn't be out, I would do sleepovers, what they called, and then I would do work during the day. Then I went to the blood transfusion service, and they were dead on because it was 10 o'clock in the morning that you started or left the base here in Omagh, and you were out to maybe 10 at night. Some days it could be 11, so you sort of worked in the morning from about 7 till 9:30 and went on ahead to do the... And that was a really good experience, because, as I keep saying to them, we had to be two-faced. Because if you met a priest, and my big 40 was getting them off the bed without any reaction. That was my main concern. So, if you met a priest, you were holier than thou. And if you met an idiot, you were just a big idiot as he was. But you kept the thing going, and you got them into the right
frame of mind. Yeah.
Yes, the right frame of mind.
I'm sure quite a few were some of your past customers as well.
Oh, aye. Oh, you would have had a lot of them, you know. But no, I enjoyed it. Now it was good. You meeting different people every day, sort of thing, and you were in different places.
Right,
we had covered right up till Ballymena and all round, you know. Sometimes with some of the Belfast crew down if we were short-staffed or whatever, you know. Carrickmore was very good, and the one man that really boosted Carrickmore was Luke Dilly. Through the blood transfusion, they discovered that Luke had leukemia. And of course, well, as far as I know, he's still all right. Like,
very well,
yeah. But it ended up anyway that Luke, when the people were in Carrickmore, everybody wanted their bloods taken. And there was one night, it must be near 12 o'clock before we got out of it. Just all come flooding in, you know. But anyway, it worked out all right, like, you know. But,
well, looking back, Peter, would you do it all again, do you think?
Oh, aye. Why not? Why not? It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the crack at night. And I mean, there was a fella, he had a pub, or his father had a pub in Pomeroy, and on a Friday night he used to come round to the van for a smoke, and they had orders with him for the ones in the pub, and he got to feed himself and all. Paul Haddon, I think it was. And I mean, the last encounter I had with him was at Knocknamoe one night. Now, I had gone on in age at that stage, and Paul says, "It's wild cow. How long a minute?" And away he went. And what did they do? He gathered sticks, and with a wee fire sitting and us sitting on the kerb and us chatting about old times and stuff like that there. You know, it was. There was lots of things happened, that times that come to you and times that don't, you know.
Yes. But you're always very enterprising from your earliest days, so you always could see maybe potential where other people wouldn't have seen it.
Not really. You just went headlong into it and made the best of us. And as I always maintained to anybody of even the time that your man, what do you call him, McLean, bought the shop down there, after it was fairly run down on that, and he come to me to see what, in actual fact, we had a second chip van, and we sold it to them, and we tell them, look, you've now to Christmas, if it doesn't suit you, leave her back, because she was better operational than not being operational, because it's like a car sitting there for weeks on end without being run. That's the way I looked at it.
Yes.
So he took it and he come before Christmas and he paid me for it. And then the shop come up and I says, Wilbur, it's like this. What you put into it is what you'll take out of it. And if you don't put in into it, you'll not take it out of it. And that's a sort of attitude we had worked on all along, like, you know. So
he done very well there.
He did. He done fantastically well.
Yes.
I mean, shortly before the opening, the one thing, he come to me and he says, I'm not going to, what do you call it? I'm not going to sell cigarettes. I says, why not? Because he says, I don't want to be giving anybody cancer. Well, I says, what about the boy across the road that'll sell them the fags? And what else along with it? I says, the fags is in there, and when he's in, he'd probably buy someone else than that. So he ended up selling the fags. So he didn't know anything he could do about it, like, you know.
Yes, I know what you mean. funny, I remember you actually sent me out to give Wilbur a hand a few Saturday nights, and when he just bought the van.
Aye, for to give him a...
Get them started. That was Wilbur and Evelyn at the time, yeah.
Yeah, Wilbur and Evelyn, that's right.
Yeah.
He reckoned the pay he was getting at the school wasn't enough, so we let him at it, and he done.
You never looked back?
No, he didn't. No, he would tell anybody the same thing, that only for the advice he got of me, that he wouldn't be as far on as he is, you know. So there was another night that I had a row with a councillor because I hadn't enough chips for him. We closed the thing up, and that was it. For I said to him at the start, look, we haven't much left. Again, drink was involved in it. So he closed her up anyway, and the next thing, the back door got a battering, or the side door of that van that we had last. And anyway, opened it, and there the councillor was standing. And he says, I want to talk to you. Because I had said to him, I says, you're a disgrace. I says, right there, like up there. I says, a councillor, supposed to be upstanding in society. But anyway, the next thing I saw, the boy went to get in, but I was about 3 steps higher than him. I says to him, where are you going? Oh, he's a councillor now, that's all the boy. I says, where are you going? Oh, he says, I'm going in here. I says, you're not. But I says, do you see that shoe there? You'll get it right across the face. Simple as that. So he stood back, and I just closed the door, put the belts on her, and we sorted the problem out anyway. Right. At the end of it,
Oh, as you say, it's all it's all in a lifetime you look at.
Flip's sake. I would only have counted them. Now, the one good thing was that on the van, Mary had the respect, whereas if I'd have been at the window, there'd have been a few boys inside the van, because I would have taken them in through the window.
Short fuse.
Short fuse, You're doing your best.
Absolutely.
I mean, the night of the chorus concert in Omagh, and me and our van and boy Quinn, Decky Quinn, was it Decky? No, Liam Quinn used to have it up there at Glendale. We were the only 2 in, because we were the only ones that was registered by the council. So the next thing come along was this health authority boy, and of course he had us see round what way we were doing things. And at that time we would have done the burgers. You would have par fried them, then you steamed them, and oh no, that couldn't be right. And he takes his probe out, and Mary says, go ahead and check it. Right, and he went to stick the probe in, and he burnt the hand himself with the steam. Oh, he says, that is hot enough. Mary says, I'm trying to tell you. That's the way we do. And the steam in them actually left them soft.
Yes.
What you hadn't a big hard lump like you have nowadays. Funny, the daughter was here one day having dinner, and we had burgers, and I done them in the steamer and that, and she says, how'd you get them so soft? I says, that's the way we done it all along. She couldn't believe that it would work,
Where would you bought your fish? Did you buy it locally as well?
Keenan's in Belfast. We bought actually Scottish whiting, and it was all good fresh stuff, and I defy anybody to tell me the difference between whiting and cod.
And you battered it yourself?
We battered it ourselves, yes.
Pre-cooked it,
and we pre-cooked the chips out there, say on a Thursday and a Friday, then everyone else fell into line then after that,
Wonderful. Great memories, Peter. Thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Well, there's a lot of other things that I could talk about, but I could be putting somebody in trouble.
Don't want the laws of libel at us now. No, we're doing good enough. But
no,
but wonderful. That's the crack. You're probably best known for the chip van of the crack and that as well around the town, I suppose, really.
Aye, and there was a fella actually, I don't know how later in years, when we were still on the road, he would have put up on Facebook about the goings on at Omagh and the chip van and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
So No, they were dead on. We never had any fear of anywhere at all.
All right.
Because you treated people right, and
That's exactly it, yeah.
Yeah, you
It
know.
was a working arrangement you had. You were providing the service and they were there.
Yeah. Oh, I never. But I always mean too. There was 3 or 4 boys from Killisland, and they would come down from Knocknamoe, and they would just shout on Killisland's here. It was the same order every week. So while you were preparing somebody else's order, you also prepared theirs, and they got it handed out over somebody else getting here, and they handed you the right money, and away they went. You know, things like that there that you, what do you call it?
Wonderful experience. Wonderful chat, Peter. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No bother.
Thank you.
Hope you get.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And many's the gay night, from dark to daylight, I spent with people of high renown. But with all their splendour and heaps to spend, sure, my mind would wander back to Omagh town.